Hello and welcome to Health Hub, the platform for insightful conversation about wellness, health, and disease prevention. I'm your host, Miracle Wobo, and today we'll be talking about healthy living and disease control. We'll be dissecting different levels of this conversation, and to help us do that in the studio today is a seasoned professional, Dr. Abo Karibo. I hope I pronounced your name very well, sir.
Please try again. Abo Karibo.
Dr. Abo Karibo.
Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to be having a conversation about healthy living and disease control. So before we start, I would want you to talk about the importance of routine checkups.
Like you've always heard since from childhood, prevention is better than cure. Now, how do you prevent? By making sure that your body is okay, and the best way to do that is regular checkups at intervals, convenient and comfortable intervals. What do you do if you are driving a car, for instance, or using a machine? You service it from time to time. Treat the body as such, only as far as servicing goes and checking up. Beyond that, you have to also be sure that you do it consciously and with the desire to get well or stay well in this instance. Of course, it will cost you a lot less to do your checkups and prevent disease and illness than if you had to get sick, especially if you went into complications. Then that will make you spend more time in hospital, more money out of your pocket, and so on. Of course, you also add the opportunity cost, the things you will miss when you are ill. So it's a big thing you must prevent, mainly by routine checkups. You were going to ask for children. You remember as a child, you can't remember how many times your parents took you for checkup. But it should be the ideal. Yes, at least 4 or 5 years, check again. But because we hardly fell ill, and the parents don't have the habit of taking you for checkup, even the adults themselves don't usually do checkup. It's not our culture, it's not our habit. But because people are getting more aware, people begin to check now. If you are up to a certain age, say you are under 20, between 20 and 30, you should check maybe every 5 years, check basic systems of your body. If you're older than that, now the frequency should increase.
Okay.
Maybe 40, 50, twice a year, you know, or every 2-3 years. Then beyond that, 50, 60 and so on, yearly or twice a year, depending on what you are exposed to. So that regular routine checkups, very important.
So you've said if they are under the age of 20, they should take 5 to 7 years to do checkups.
That should be more like an ideal.
An ideal.
How many people do you see in Nigeria that go and check themselves under 20? Unless they're having illness or symptoms, they treat, but not for regular checkups, as you can see.
So what are those diseases or illness that can be discovered or detected through regular or routine checkups?
Basically, for a growing man, woman, by the time we get into the age of, you may have problems. Blood pressure, sugar problems, check for diabetes, check for hypertension, lipid profiles and so on. And that's basically that. And of course, as we age, the need for more checkups arises. If you were going to say somebody that's up to 40, a man that's up to 40,
okay,
may begin to think about prostate problems. But usually we don't. Why? Because the symptoms may not have started disturbing until maybe they are 50, 60 and more. So we take the blood pressure, that's heart problems and vascular problems, sugar, prostate, you know. Of course, for women, we also add the cervix, the uterus problems, but both for women as well. Blood pressure, diabetes, both goes for both men and women. Then for women, as they get older, you add cervix, cervical cancer screening. You have to make sure of that. Just as for men, as they get older, prostate. And of course, for both male and female, as they get older too, big bowel, large bowel diseases come into play as well. Need to check for that. Colorectal diseases, colorectal cancer, you know, and all those things. So it's just a wide array. As we get older, we check. Of course, we do need to bother too much. As you get into the hospital, as you are aging, the doctors will tell you what and what you need to do. As particularly if you're not having symptoms. Of course, we need to build that culture of going in to hospital to demand for checkups before you get symptoms.
Okay. So you've mentioned that we Nigerians do not take the habit of going for routine checkups.
It's not our culture yet.
So what
generally,
what do you think should be done to be able to, you know, reverse this attitude of us?
What we are doing now is like a beginning, right? And people listening will become aware. There are a good number of things that you can avoid if you checked early. Cancer issues, for example.
Yeah.
Then maybe other things like immunization issues, you know, avoid hepatitis, you know, COVID and all those things. So it takes some time. What you need is the awareness. So what we are doing now is the beginning. And of course, we could go further than this here. Seminars, write-ups, websites, of course, increase our awareness so that people can also go and seek information. Not many people worry about health like that. Why? In our society today, you have a lot of stress happening to people because of how they are struggling to survive. You know, life is tight for a lot of people in many areas, especially decently earning individuals, both male and female. I'm sure you too, in your position, if you have friends and relatives, and not necessarily people depending on you, but people who think that you are a bit better off, I'm sure they are also inundating you with requests about, please help me now, some urgent 2K or 3K. I'm sure you have that kind of experience. So with all that stress, it translates to impacting on health as well. So we have to make them aware. Take it easy. Don't kill yourself. Take it easy. There are stresses. Do what you can and so on. Also check yourself.
You've made mention of different illnesses. You've made mention of cancer, blood sugar, and the likes of them. So what are the basic illnesses for, let's say, different ages? Because you've segregated, you said 20 below, 45 to 60. So what illnesses are they likely to find out when we go for routine checkups, maybe for different ages? What are those basic illnesses?
I will have to have you modify that question.
Okay. Let's say someone ranging from the age of 20 to 25 goes for a checkup. Like in our society, as you've mentioned, we don't have people go for routine checkup as they should. But now we know that one way or the other, there are things that if you go to the hospital, there are things that will be seen, you know, that comes with age. Like you said, cancer. So let's say, is it something for a 20 to 25-year-old person to be diagnosed with cancer at that particular age?
Cancer is a disease which actually you will not say cuts across the board. For there are children that could go for checkup and be found with cancer.
Okay.
There are childhood cancers, right?
Yeah.
And then these other ones, when we talk cancer in general, we're talking about adults who have lived for some time. Of course, you have childhood cancers like blastomas, you know. You say a child is 2 years, it's cancer, one eye is beginning to grow and gets bigger than the other one. So some form of, it happens. Or may even have blood decreases, blood cancers, which can also occur everywhere across the board. But when you come to the ones that we are more familiar with, you are not likely to see cancers on routine examination with teenagers, generally, right? But by the time you begin to see cancer, it's among older people. You look at things like cancer of the breast, cancer of the prostate, cancer of the throat, cancer of the tongue, skin cancer, cancer of the blood, especially the white blood cells. What you've heard of leukemia, right? So those are the ones that you're likely to see. For the younger ones, it's not a regular thing. You're not likely to see them commonly.
Okay, so moving to preventive health practices, what are those simple daily habits that can help people to prevent common illnesses?
You begin from basic personal hygiene. Wash your hands. Brush your teeth at least once a day. If you can't do it 2 times. Some people do it once, but it's advised twice. There are those who want to be fastidious, you know, want to be too extra clean. They're likely to do after every meal, they brush again, you know, which is also a good practice as long as you don't injure yourself. You know, you could injure yourself by brushing.
By brushing your teeth?
Yes. When you get too enthusiastic, you could injure yourself. You know, you haven't seen people who have done that. They get too enthusiastic, they're brushing, the teeth don't clean finish, they still the cleaner. Eh? They still they brush until they injure their gums, you know. So as long as you don't injure yourself, it's okay after every meal. And that's one. And of course, washing the hands. You remember this COVID that came, COVID-19 in 2020, we were being forced to wash our hands and use sanitizers. The thing has gone now. How many people have you still continue to wash their hands? You know, so that habit is not there, but that's where we begin. And of course, also environmental hygiene all around us. You see mosquitoes, of course, and then filthy surroundings that could expose people to getting hepatitis A. You know, dirty environment and so on. Of course, diarrheal diseases and so on, typhoid, and then other things, cholera, all that. Basic hygiene.
Basic hygiene.
Yes.
So how important are vaccinations in preventing disease across different age group? Because we can see that as children, they have a lot of vaccination at that very young age, where they always go maybe the space of 3 months. Then when they are 6 months, when they are 9 months, they go to the hospital for immunization and also some vaccination. But then we see that as adults, some of us do not, you know, get vaccinated. So how important are these vaccinations for adults too?
Very, 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 very important.
The varies.
How many varies did I count? 4, right?
Yes, 4.
It could be even more than that. Because immunization has been established as the most effective and most cost-effective intervention that helps to prevent disease, beginning from childhood vaccine preventable diseases. Of course, by the time the child is 9, 10, you will have succeeded in protecting this child against vaccine preventable diseases. I'll give you a list of some of them. And then in adulthood, you also have hepatitis B, yellow fever, and a few others, Haemophilus influenzae, meningitis, and so on, for adults. Now for children, which is where the key of immunization is, at birth, you begin by giving BCG, the one that protects against tuberculosis, hepatitis B, they call them, those ones you name them, BCG at birth, hepatitis B0, because we're going to give hepatitis B in some other combinations later. So, and then of course, they come back 6 weeks, begin to give oral polio, a few other things like that, oral polio, PCV, and some others. 4 weeks, 4 weeks later, at 10 weeks, they come back, 14 weeks, they come back. So you have all these things. By the time you have PCV, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine is there. Then you have the pentavalent vaccine, which carries 5 different, it's a combo of 5 different diseases that will protect against tetanus, hepatitis, Haemophilus influenza B, type B, and to say 3 others like that. By the time they are 9 months, by the time they are 9 months, they come for yellow fever and measles. And of course now we have rubella into the mix. Because measles and rubella, if you remember in February we went out to the field to vaccinate children against measles and rubella. Rubella has just been added to it. And then by 15 months, they will take a second dose of measles, rubella. And then for the girls, of course, it should be including the boys too, but because of cost reasons and logistics reasons, they have not been included so far. For the girls at 9 years of age, they now give the one against human papilloma virus that will protect the young girl in later life against cervical cancer.
Okay, let's hold it for a pause there and let's go on a short break.
Okay.
We'll join shortly.
Oh, I'm not talking too much.
This is CEMTV, reliable news and entertainment.
Is it time? I can't wait to see it.
Voice of the people, stories that matter.
Oh wow!
Truth in every moment, now and forever. Across every border, across every land, we form, we empower, together we stand. From Africa to the world, connecting every voice.
You're welcome back to Health Hub. We've been talking about importance of routine checks and preventive health care practices. We have in the studio with us today Dr. Abo Karibo. And moving on, we're going to be asking, what are those signs as a person, what are those signs that we see that we shouldn't neglect when it comes to our health?
Okay, thank you. Of course, whenever you have a physical discomfort, that that's a sign for you. Take action, right? What we are most familiar with are the basics like headache, fever, pain, in other parts of the body. Of course, headache is like pain in the head, right? And what should you do? First step, seek assistance. If you knew what to do, you would do. Quite often, a lot of people do engage in self-medication.
Yes.
If you were doing it right, well, nobody will quarrel with you as long as you get good results, right? Then some other people go to the patent medicine store or chemist, pharmacy store and complain and get the prescription from the pharmacy people or the patent medicine store attendant. So what should you do? See a doctor. Go to a primary health center or tertiary health, secondary health center. But those are the ones that should refer you to the tertiary health center. But unfortunately, in our environment, people go first to the teaching hospital when they are ill. That's something that it has become a habit for us here. But that's the basic thing. Go to the primary health center. The doctor there should be able to know what to do with you. If you need examination tests and so on, they do for you. Physical examination, lab tests of different specimens, depending on what your complaints are. So basically, as a patient, you don't have too much to do on your own if you know that you will go to the doctor, to see the doctor and get advice and get treated. That's basically that.
Okay, so how do poor dieting, physical inactivity, how does it contribute to diseases? Does it lead to diseases?
What exactly?
Poor diet, the way we eat.
Or diet?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, if you eat well, you are more likely to boost your immunity, keep your immunity strong, high enough to look after you. Your body cells need nourishment, and it's that nourishment that will help them to perform well. Of course, you have your immune system, all this, everything depends on how well you eat. Balanced diet, basically. Are you taking the carbohydrates enough? Not in excess. Mind you, not in excess. Are you taking enough carbohydrates, protein, and of course, fat, and of course, vitamins, which you'll get from either supplements or your fruits and vegetables as well. Very important, especially when you are aging. You know, as fresh as possible. Vegetables and fruits. The fresher they are, the better for you. And you know, you have a wide variety of these things you can eat.
Yes.
So that your balanced diet is your key.
Okay.
And don't overeat.
Yeah.
You know, part of the problem is, as you say, in all things moderation. If you are taking too much of any particular one, you might run into trouble, like the sugars, refined sugars, you know, excessive bread, you know, too much refined sugar, artificial foods like that. So those can throw you into trouble. And of course, it takes time to build.
So excessive intakes of refined sugar and food like bread. What about in a society that we find ourselves, we have, I would say we consume more of carbohydrates. So how has that shaping the health, or how has that affected lots of lives?
Good question. Thank you. When I was on active service, I was working on a construction site. I was a doctor in a construction company, a conglomerate somewhere. So I had this patient that came to me, checked his sugar, everything up, and he had this excessive Gary habit, you know, Eba now. So I probed. As I was questioning him, I probed and said, today is today, right? I'm probing him today. For the past 17 days, the only thing he has been eating is Eba. And of course, it may not have been this last 17-day Eba that has put him there, but that tells you that that has been his habit over the years. So this, the way had been taking this about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because of the nature of the work, the job he was doing, had to be on the road to join the bus, get him to the office between 6:30 and 7.
Yes.
Lunch break, they have to transport them back again into town. Lunch break is just about 1 hour. Gets back. Then after that, when they close after 6 to 7, he gets back. No time to sit and start cooking at every meal. So he cooks everything and makes his eba or keeps water for his eba. And he come quickly do the eba, chop, back to work like that. 3 meals a day, all eba. So what do you see? The tendency is that he's taking too much carbohydrate.
Yes.
And of course, they're not telling you the other things that you'll be taking, maybe mineral, bread, and so on. You know, some people take the mineral to match the bread. And then, of course, with all this excess, you now notice that diabetes is on the increase in our population.
Yes.
So that's a definite impact. It's on the increase. And of course, you know how it comes. You begin to add extra weight, get obese, and so on. Before you know, you're eating extra, what you call polyphagy, polydipsia, and polyuria. You are eating too much, you are drinking too much of water, and you are urinating too much, you know.
So you said too much consumption of gari is no good.
Well, you know, it's like you say,
yes,
it's our staple food. It's our habit. We eat plenty of carbohydrate. If it's not gari, you're chopping rice or you're chopping yam. There's beans there now. We can eat beans. Now we can take the fruits and other things. But whatever it is now, all in moderation is best for us.
Okay, so before we wrap up the show, moving to public health and awareness. What are the biggest health challenges that the country right now, Nigeria, is facing?
I'll tell you, I'm not in a position to tell you that exactly. That as you're talking about Nigeria as a whole. Now, but from my own anecdotal and empirical, you know, observation, diabetes is increasing. Hypertension is increasing. You know the amount of stress people are going through.
Sure.
You hear the stories every day. Insecurity is on the increase. All these things affect people. When you listen to the news, you'll be getting more stressed. Depending on the kind of news you're hearing. Somebody will come on TV and tell you that there's no problem in the country. I mean, you know there's problem. You get worried because you are seeing this, and sometimes you have people around you that are victims, both of the insecurity at different levels.
True.
You know, so these things contribute to illness, hypertension, and diabetes. I think very important. And of course, you go to the older people, talk about the cancers and so on. And that one needs to be looked at again.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to young people about maintaining good health?
Lifestyle, good lifestyle. They need to know that good health is possible.
Okay.
And again, it depends on you. Ultimate responsibility for your good health lies with you, the individual. So how do you do that? Get to know, ask questions, let knowledgeable people tell you it's like this, it's like that, you know. Well, you see, let me give you an example now. In our society, you see a lot of young people, they'll tell you they don't want to take alcohol if you want to offer them drinks, right? Give me a Predator. You know what Predator is?
Yes.
What sort of drink is it?
Energy drink.
Energy drink. Or Fearless. Yeah? Or Sultan or something like that. So it has been found that when they take it, excessive intake of these energy drinks, with all the caffeine and the sugar and everything, has a negative effect on the kidneys, you know. So they need to have information like that. and then know what to avoid or what to go slow on. You know?
Yes.
So basically, bottom line is information, knowledge. What do you know? What do you help yourself with? You used to say knowledge is power. Knowledge is not just power. It's not just knowledge is power. It's the application of the knowledge that gives you the power. Right? So let them get to know that. Moderation, excessive things like energy drinks, alcohol, tobacco, you know, too much food, you know, and of course engage in, look after your body, sleep well, rest well, good exercise, good amounts of exercise. You understand?
Yes.
These things will help you stay healthy, and of course don't forget the three: good fresh air, good sunlight, and clean water. Right?
Yes. So before we draw the curtains, finally, Doctor, what message would you like to leave with us today? What message would you like to pass to the audience on the importance of healthy living, disease prevention, and making out time for routine checkup?
Like we've been saying here, wrap it up by saying, I've started it by saying, ultimate responsibility for your health lies with you. So seek the information. There are people that can teach you this. There are people that can tell you this. Get to know and develop and have the intention to remain healthy. And of course, when you have that intention, you are more likely to apply information and knowledge that you will receive and use to help yourself. When you see a lot of people you see that are in good health, right? It's not just out of luck or simple prayer.
Yes.
It is by their own actions and efforts. That's why we end up with the fact that ultimate responsibility for your health and longevity lies with you.
Thank you very much,
you.
Doctor, for joining us today to, navigate and dissect it. It was a pleasure for you to be here with us today. We've come to the end of this program. As we draw the curtain, like Doctor has said, health is wealth, and prevention is better than cure. It's best that you go on routine checkups. It's best that you know what is happening to you, because to prevent it is better than to cure it. Until next time, this is Health Hub, and I am your host, Miracle Wobo. Do not touch your dial, do not go anywhere, and do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms across X, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at CEMTVPLUS. It's a goodbye for now. Don't go anywhere.